this is gonna probably be my last video. I'm going to turn myself in.
After Big U turned himself in, things went downhill fast. He wasn't just facing 1 or 2 charges. He got hit with a long list, including murder, extortion, fraud, and even human trafficking. Now, word on the street is that Big U is starting to break down. Insiders say he's been getting into fights.
They didn't jump Big U, but best believe Big U was also involved.
Big U was in the fight too? Yo, sis.
A lot is happening with Big U, and if you think it ends with jail fights, wait until you hear what insiders say really went down in court. Let me break it all down. In March 2025, federal authorities came down hard on Big U and his crew, hitting them with serious allegations. We're talking about a 43-count federal indictment, including racketeering, murder, extortion, fraud, embezzlement, and tax evasion. Basically, the feds are accusing Big U of running a mafia-style criminal organization called the Big U Enterprise. When Big U showed up in court on March 20th, he was cuffed and shackled, wearing a white t-shirt, black sweatpants, and Nike sneakers without laces, standard inmate gear. Before he turned himself in, he posted a few videos explaining his side of the story. In one of them, he said,
So this is gonna probably be my last video. I'm going to turn myself in to see what's going on. We're talking about a fugitive.
Big U was clearly frustrated he was using his words to defend himself against what he sees as unfair charges in the same video he claimed.
If you had something against a black man, you should handle it with a black man in the streets. You're gonna take my contracts. He working with the FBI.
This part of the story is especially interesting because it introduces another layer, the long-running feud between Big U and another big name in the industry, WAC 100. Some believe this beef might be a key factor behind the charges against Big U's lawyer, John Targowski, has made it clear that Henley plans to fight the charges and continues to maintain his innocence. Big U has also publicly denied everything, saying it's all just an attempt to ruin his reputation. To really understand what's going on, we need to look at who Big U is beyond these allegations. He's not just some random guy from the streets. He's been a powerful figure in both gang life and the music industry. Eugene Big U Henley was a former member of the Rollin' 60s Crips in Los Angeles, and his influence started back in the 1970s and 80s. In fact, parts of his life reportedly inspired characters in the classic film Boys N' the Hood. After spending 23 years in prison for a cocaine robbery, he was released around 2004. After that, he seemed to turn his life around. He started a non-profit called Developing Options to help the community, and got involved in the music business, managing artists like Corrupt and Nipsey Hussle. These moves raised his public profile and earned him respect in the hip-hop world. In interviews, Big U has talked openly about his past and his experiences with law enforcement, offering some powerful insights.
I mean, if you think about, you even take it back 100 years, where you could shoot someone and move to the next town over.
Change your name.
Change your name, shave your beard, and it was over. You would never get caught, and then fingerprints, then DNA, and then video cameras everywhere, and cell phones.
That don't stop people.
This quote shows that Big U understands how the criminal justice system has changed over time, but it doesn't mean he's still involved in crime. In fact, he's spoken out about stopping gang violence, especially to protect the younger generation. Big U is a father of 5, and he said that his desire to stop gang violence came from wanting to keep his own sons safe, especially since they were at an age where gangs often try to recruit. This personal reason is what pushed him to get involved in helping the community, which makes the current charges against him even more complicated and controversial. Let's be honest, Big U has a serious reputation on the streets. People know he's tough and commands respect. In one interview, when asked about the top fighters from the Rollin' 60s, he didn't hesitate to name himself.
I would say different, but he didn't have a lot of fight representing the hood. I was a squabbler in the hood. I squabbled everything.
He further explained what made him different in street fights.
Because with me, you weren't gonna knock me out. You would have to sleep me. That mean, like, if I'm going to a squabble, to me, it was different.
These statements help us understand Big U's mindset and background, but they don't suggest he's the kind of person who would lose control and act out in court. In fact, since he's been through the legal system before, he knows how serious the consequences of that kind of behavior can be. The charges against Big U are no joke. He's being accused of some major crimes, like being involved in the 2021 murder of an aspiring rapper, organizing a robbery at an unlicensed marijuana dispensary in Los Angeles, and scamming companies, donors, and even athletes like Draymond Green and Shaquille O'Neal, as well as the GRYD program, out of $35 million over 5 years. These are serious accusations that could lead to a long prison sentence if he's found guilty. But right now, these are just allegations. The case is still in progress, and Big U's trial was originally scheduled for May 20th, 2025. Until a court decides otherwise, he's legally considered innocent. What makes this case especially interesting is the two sides of Big U's image. On one side, he's known as a former gang member who turned his life around and now works in the community and the music industry. On the other side, these charges claim he's still involved in crime while pretending to do good work. This mix of images has led to split opinions. Some people see him as a positive role model, while others think he's still a criminal. Big U himself has said he feels like he's being unfairly targeted.
I ain't been nothing but a help to our community. But I guess it is what it is. This the price of being black and trying to help somebody, trying to help your community and do what you can. You're just guilty because somebody else don't like you and then go on the internet and do what they want to, and y'all gonna promote it.
This statement shows that Big U believes he's being treated unfairly, not because of any real crimes, but possibly because of his past and his race. During his court appearances, he has stayed calm and professional while pleading not guilty to all charges. The real story isn't about how he acts in court, but about the serious charges and the complicated backstory behind them. To truly understand what's happening with Big U, we need to dig into his past and the web of relationships and conflicts that may have led to these charges. One of the biggest and most important conflicts is his beef with Wack 100. This isn't just a small argument, it's a serious feud between two of the most powerful figures in the hip-hop world. Understanding this beef is key because Big U has directly accused Wack 100 of playing a role in his arrest. The feud between Big U, Eugene Henley, and Wack 100, Gerald Alexander, has gone on for years and includes both personal and business problems. What makes it even more dramatic is that they used to be close friends. Their relationship began around the year 2000 through connections at Death Row Records. They were like brothers, so close that even their kids knew each other. They supported each other in tough times and worked together in both the music industry and the streets. Like many close friendships in this business, things eventually fell apart. First major fallout happened in 2017. It started with an incident involving 6699 and The Game, who was managed by Wack 100, and a fight at Big U's shop that included Trippie Redd's security team. Wack didn't back Big U up during that situation, which created bad feelings and marked the beginning of their split. Another problem came up when Wack 100 rented a studio room for $150, and Big U asked if others could use it too. Wack saw that as a sign of disrespect. What might seem small to outsiders was a big deal in their world, and it officially ended their close friendship. There were also money issues, with Wack 100 later claiming. Back in 2015, Wack 100 claimed that Big U and Suge Knight tried to steal his E1 contracts. Big U denied it, saying that kind of thing wouldn't be possible in the music industry without real proof like recordings or messages. This disagreement stayed private for about 15 months, which shows their business relationship had serious issues brewing behind the scenes. Things stayed quiet until they didn't. In 2022, their feud exploded into the public. It all came to light on July 7th, 2022, when Hassan Campbell released audio of Wack 100 calling Big U the biggest snake, accusing him of trying to extort 30% from Nipsey Hussle's estate. This shocked the industry, since most people thought Big U and Wack were still friends. That moment exposed how deep their falling out really was. The situation got even more intense that same day. There were rumors that a guy named Tiny Draws punched Wack 100 3 times during a concert at the Nova. Wack denied it, and there's no video proof, but the talk on Clubhouse made it sound like war had officially been declared. After that, Wack 100 began trying to seriously damage Big U's reputation. He accused Big U of signing a contract with the LAPD's 77th Street Division back in 2015 and using a BlackBerry phone to report gang activity, basically calling him a snitch, which is one of the worst things you can be labeled in street culture. Wack also tried to turn Big U's own people against him. He convinced some of Big U's known associates, like 600 and Loose Cannon, to flip. 600 even went on YouTube to speak out against Big U, and Loose Cannon appeared on No Jumper, where he connected Big U to Nipsey Hussle's death. Claims hit Big U's street and industry reputation hard. As the feud continued, things only got more serious. By 2025, it reached a boiling point. That's when Big U was indicted on RICO charges, accused of running a mafia-style criminal operation connected to the Rollins 60s Crips. He turned himself in after authorities had already arrested Brick Baby, Loose Cannon, and others earlier that year. Big U later spoke publicly about the situation, saying,
And I just want to say this to y'all. When they raided my houses and my property, they was asking about Wack. Wack, Loose Cannon, 600, and this internet stuff. All of y'all fired. All y'all who be sending on the internet.
Big U also claimed that the FBI was actively working to undermine his community efforts and financial stability. He
With the FBI. The FBI went to the city 3 days in a row and told the city they didn't want nobody to give me no more money. They went to all the different celebrities and told all the different celebrities, don't give me no money, don't help me.
These are extremely serious accusations in the context of street culture, essentially alleging that Whack 100 is a snitch who cooperated with law enforcement to bring down Big U. Such claims, if believed in the streets, could be devastating for Whack 100's reputation and potentially even dangerous for him. Big U also suggested that the real motivation behind his legal troubles was to remove him from his position of influence and replace him with someone who would be more cooperative with certain interests.
These dudes tagging him. What kind of this? But y'all gonna be rolling with these dudes. And I got this last thing to say. Whack said he was gonna destroy developing option, right? So who gonna replace developing option? Which one of you in the 60s gonna call yourself coming in? Because whoever try to come in, y'all the ones that's working with Whack. Believe that. Remove me to get me out the way for somebody else to come in who gonna cooperate. That's what the play is. That's what the whole play is.
Of course, Whack 100 didn't stay quiet after Big U's accusations. He denied having anything to do with Big U's arrest, and even challenged him to settle things either in the streets or through the music industry. Whack made some serious publics, comments on Clubhouse, even telling people to shoot Big U if they saw him. That shows just how heated this beef has gotten. The drama has even pulled in other big names, like DJ Academics. In April 2025, he got into a public argument with Whack 100 over Big U's RICO case. This shows how the conflict has spread beyond just the two men, affecting others in the hip-hop world who are now taking sides or getting caught up in the mess. To fully understand this beef, we have to look at the backgrounds of both men and how they became powerful figures. We've already talked about how Big U rose through the Rollins 60s Crips before moving into music and community work. Whack 100, on the other hand, made his name as a manager and industry insider, working with artists like The Game and Blueface. Both men come from the streets and then stepped into the music business. That gives them a unique position where street life and industry life often collide, and that's where things can get complicated. Their beef is a perfect example of that, with accusations of betrayal, disrespect, and now even snitching. It's important to note that while Big U has directly accused Whack 100 of helping get him arrested, there's no solid proof of that. The federal charges against Big U came from a long investigation by law enforcement, and whether Whack gave them any info is still unconfirmed. But the accusation alone has added fuel to the fire. Big U's legal situation is especially complex because of who he is, both a respected community leader and someone with a deep gang background. He founded a nonprofit called Developing Options, which received $35 million from LA's Gang Reduction and Youth Development Program between 2018 and 2023. Now, some of the charges claim he defrauded that same program. This creates a serious contrast between his public image as a mentor and the criminal activities he's accused of. As a former gang member turned community figure, Big U has often talked about how hard it is to change people's views, especially those of his own kids.
So I came home in 2004, but I only had been on the main line 21 days before I was released. And that was the time they got to meet me. And so it was a transition, me coming home and not coming home the person they had been hearing about. You know what I mean? They had heard about this street dude, and I guess all the newspaper articles and whatever had you, Big U, this, and he did this, and he did that. And when I come home, I'm not actually the person they had been hearing about. I'm a lot different. I'm the opposite.
This quote gives us a look into Big U's mindset as he shifted from his street life to becoming a father and community leader. He talks about wanting to break the cycle of violence and prison for the sake of his kid. That makes the charges against him even more serious because they threaten the new life and reputation he says he's built. The beef between Big U and Whack 100 is more than just a personal fight. It's a clash where street politics, the music business, and community leadership all collide. Now, with Big U facing serious legal charges and directly accusing Whack 100 of being involved, the stakes are higher than ever. As the court case goes on, it will show the real truth about Big U, whether he's truly changed or if he's been hiding criminal activities behind his community work. No matter what happens, this conflict has already had big effects on both men and the wider hip-hop world. Now let's look closer at the specific charges against Big U and what they could mean for his future and legacy. The charges related to the GRID program are especially harmful to Big U's image as a community leader. The Los Angeles Times reported that he received government grants for his charity, but allegedly used the money for illegal activity. If this is true, it's not only a crime, but also a betrayal of the communities he said he was helping. It could damage trust in other real community groups working in the same areas. Beyond the legal side, Big U's case shows how hard it is for people to leave street life behind and move into honest business and community work. His story, no matter the outcome, highlights how tough it can be to escape your past and how much suspicion people face from both law enforcement and the public. Adding to the complexity, Big U says some of his former close allies like 600 and Loose Cannon have turned against him and might be working with the authorities. If true, this could give prosecutors strong insider evidence to use against. But it's not just his old associates. Big U has also accused WAC 100 of working with the FBI to get him arrested. In a video before his arrest, he said,
"If you have something against a black man, you should handle it with a black man in the streets. You're gonna take my contracts." He working with the FBI.
Besides the personal fight with WAC 100, Big U's case has bigger effects on the hip-hop world and community groups working in city neighborhoods. His arrest and the accusations against him have caught the attention of many people, including Adam22, who made it clear that No Jumper is not involved, even though some people like Brick Baby and Loose Cannon are mentioned in the charges. This shows how cases like this can affect not just the people involved, but also their networks, businesses, and organizations connected to them. The charges also bring up serious questions about how community programs that get government money are watched and managed. If it's true that Big U stole $35 million from the GRID program, this might cause more careful checking of similar programs and the groups that get funding. This could make it harder for honest community projects to get support in the future. For Big U himself, the risk is huge. If he's found guilty of all charges, he could face hundreds of years in prison, basically a life sentence because of his age. This would be a big fall for someone who seemed to change his life after his last time in prison, and who had built a strong reputation in music and as a community leader. It's important to remember that even though the charges are serious, Big U is still innocent until proven guilty. His lawyers say he is ready to fight these charges strongly, and that he is innocent. They believe they can challenge the government's case. The final decision will depend on the evidence in court and how the jury sees it. Big U's complicated public image makes his case very interesting culturally. He fits a familiar role in hip-hop, a former gang member who uses his street reputation to succeed in the music business and help his community. Many people in hip-hop have followed a similar path, though not all face accusations of continuing crime while showing they've changed. His arrest also affects the Rolling 60s neighborhood Crips, one of the most well-known gangs in Los Angeles. As a leader there, his absence could cause a power gap or change the gang's dynamics. This worries people about possible instability or conflicts, as others might try to take his place. With Big U's arrest, others might try to take his place and fill the gap he leaves behind. The case also involves big names like Draymond Green and Shaquille O'Neal, who are said to be victims of fraud. This adds more attention and interest to the case. These connections show how far Big U's influence reaches, from the streets to professional sports and entertainment. While these ties may have helped him build real businesses and community programs, the charges say they might also have been used for fraud. Big U's trial is still in the early stages, with the first court date set for May 20th, 2025. As the case moves forward, more details may come out about the evidence against him, the possible role of WAC 100 or others in his arrest, and what this means for the hip-hop world and community groups in Los Angeles. For now, this situation is a strong example of how personal conflicts, street politics, and real business can get mixed up in ways that have serious consequences. If you want to understand how hip-hop, street culture, and the law connect, Big U's case is an interesting example. It covers topics like trying to change for the better, moving from illegal activities to legal work, the use of tough laws against gangs, and the complicated mix of personal fights and business in the music industry, where street reputation and success often go together. As this story unfolds, it will likely reveal more about these issues and might change how we see Big U's impact and legacy. Whether he comes out of this with his name cleared or faces harsh penalties, his story is an important part of hip-hop's ongoing relationship with the streets, the music business, and the law. What do you think about Big U's arrest? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to click the cards on the screen for more deep dives.